what do we have here? Wolverine 350 4x4. Check this thing out. It's not too bad. Rip seat. Overall, not horrible. Last registered in '99, which is an old one. Alright, so this is one of the quads I picked up with the Yamaha Warrior 350 from previous videos. So I drove 2 hours and 25 minutes to get this thing one way, so 4 hours and 50 minutes total to pick this thing up. This is a 1996 Yamaha Wolverine 350 4x4. You can see right there. Last registered in '99. The owner of this said his dad owned this since new. It once had a plow on it, and he said it was actually really nice when it was brand new. Right now it doesn't look too bad. It uses the, looks kind of like Banshee lights in the front, or like the Warrior lights in the front, kind of the typical Yamaha lights. It is oil cooled. You can see right here, there's the oil cooler. It is 4x4, but the 4x4 does not work in this thing. You can see the drive shaft for the front is off of it. So when you turn this, it just spins. You can see the drive in there, just spinning. So we're gonna try to find a drive shaft for it and some new U-joints. But yeah, it's pretty bad in there. This thing does have reverse. You can see the shift pattern right here. So it's 1 neutral reverse, and then 1 2 3 4 5. So it has 5 gears all the way up here. So to go in reverse, it's just like a Yamaha Raptor, where you just twist this little knob right here, and that should pull something down. I think it's either down here, or where does this go to? Oh, right there. So this is on the right side of the machine actually for reverse. It's got neutral, reverse, oil temp, light. It's got parking brake. Nice racks on the back. Backlight lens is broken. You can see right there. The pipe on it's still pretty nice. Not too bad. Tires are really big on this thing. This one looks like it's going flat. CV axles in the front are fine. Nice and tight. Yeah, that looks good. So really, it's just missing that front drive shaft, it looks like. That tire's pumped up pretty good. Let's see about the back. It's got one big shock in the back. It's kind of weird. It looks like a dirt bike shock or something. But it is, there's no chain on these things, just 2 drive shafts, one for the rear, one for the front. So it's a pretty nice machine. Let's take a look. Let's take a look underneath the seat here. See what's going on. Definitely needs a new seat cover. It's ripped up pretty good. Got the battery. Ooh, some corrosion going on there. Battery hasn't been out in a while. I'm guessing there's some mice in the air filter here. Let's see what happens when we turn it on. Neutral light turns on, that's a good sign. I think this one runs, if I remember correctly. But I guess it smokes pretty good. Looks like it's got the original carburetor in there as well. That's good. Do the brakes work? Back brake works. Ooh. That wheel is bad. Is that loose on there? I think the bearings in there are junk. Look at the slop. I think both wheel bearings are junk. Let's see. So definitely needs those. Alright, well, Let's get the air box off before we attempt to start this thing. See if there's a mouse living in there, and then we'll check the oil next, just before we start this thing up. I don't want anything getting in the engine. Let's see if there's any gas in it. Not much gas in there either. Throttle works. Do the lights work? Doesn't look like the lights work. Electric start works, so that's good. Plastics aren't too bad on this thing. I think these will clean up pretty good. A little crack right here where it connects down to here, but we can get that back on there. I think that's the only crack in the plastics. Yeah, plastics are actually really nice. Just needs a really good cleaning. So far we've got bearings, seat cover, front drive shaft. Let's see if we can fix this thing up. Alright, one of my favorite parts of getting a new quad is checking the air box here. Let's see what kind of goodies are in here. I've never found a live mouse though. Still waiting on that. Usually it's just a nest. Let's see what we find. Ooh. It's pretty rough. Yikes. Check that out. I mean, you may as well not even have an air filter at this point. Jeez. Oh man, that's not great. So all that crap is going into the engine. You gotta check this stuff out before you ride, guys. Come on. Ugh. Man, that's bad. Alright, we're gonna clean up the air box. Make sure none of that crap can get in to the engine here. But yeah, that was pretty bad. Let's go check the oil next. Alright, we've got the dipstick on the right side of the machine here. Take a look and see what the oil looks like here. It's at the low mark, looks like. Looks pretty clear though. Definitely running out of oil, so I'm guessing it's using oil, or the rings are bad or something, allowing it to smoke and use the oil. He did say it smoked pretty good. So we're gonna get a little oil in here before we start it up. Just didn't have a ton. We're just gonna pour a little in there. Alright, did a quick cleaning of the air box, got all the hay and stuff that was in it out of there. So let's attempt to start this thing up and see if she runs. Alright, let's see if she runs here. liable. Whew. A little smoky. Whew. Yeah, smoking pretty good. Only really runs with the choke on too. Alright, so this thing is smoking a ton. So it's probably gonna need new rings and new valve seals. I'm not sure why it would be smoking that much, but yeah, she smokes a ton. That was with the choke on. It would kind of run with the choke off, but wouldn't really rev out at all. The carburetor definitely needs to be cleaned as well. That probably hasn't ever been cleaned. And then I'll probably change up the gas too, because it might be old gas in there. And by the looks of the plastics, it was probably left outside. So, you know, it's definitely needs to be gone over, and it definitely needs a valve adjustment as well. So we'll check the valves and clean out the gas tank, do the carburetor, and we'll see if that helps at all. If it doesn't, we're gonna have to dig into the engine, do the rings, valve seals, and see what else is wrong with it. So let's get going on it. We gotta get these plastics off, the gas tank off, and then we can have access to the engine. You can see it's pretty out in the open, easy to work on, so that's kind of nice. All right, we got the gas tank off now. Alright, now we have access to the carburetor too. So, what should we work on first? Should we get the carburetor out first and then start working on the engine? Or should we work on the engine first? Let's actually adjust the valve. We'll get this cap off for the intake, and there's a cap down there for the exhaust. Alright, we got the valve caps off here, and I'm not feeling any play in them right now, so let's get this thing to top dead center and see if they're tight or not. This cap comes off. Doesn't look like this thing's ever been touched before. Yeah, there's absolutely zero dings on there. This one looks like it's got a couple dings in it. That one was off before. Alright, then we'll rotate the engine until we find a T at the top of this. Alright, just rotate this around here. Alright, if you see in there, there is in fact a T. It's kind of hard to see. There it is. We're going to come up here and take that guy off as well. Look at here. Oh, that's not coming off. That one came. That one's just extremely tight though. I don't know, that one might break off. Put this thing out of the way. it's gonna break off. It's gonna suck too. Jeez. That was a little corroded on there. The timing mark is right. You can see the line right there. It's off a little bit. Probably like 1 tooth off. It's pretty close. I wonder if I spin it a little bit more, if it'll be on. Because it's not quite on the T. Oop. Right there. I mean, it's pretty close. Yeah, that timing mark is as close as you can get, I think. Alright, intake and exhaust valves were perfect. Looking on the forum, it said that intake was between 0.06 and 0.1 millimeters, right there. And then exhaust was 0.16 to 0.2 millimeters. And these things were set perfectly. So I don't know if they were recently set or what, but they were perfectly within spec. Alright, we got the carburetor out. All that was holding it on was the throttle cable. And I got the airbox out, sitting right here. So let's go over to the carburetor and take a look at that. There was gas in it. I drained out the gas, so it was getting gas, at least in the carburetor. I don't know if the pilot was clogged or what. Take a look in here. Alright, pretty clean in there. A little gunk at the bottom, right here. That will clean out, but overall not bad. Pretty clean in there, actually. I was expecting a lot worse. We'll take the main out, take the pilot out, and take a look. But yeah, it really doesn't look that bad. There's the main. Get this out. I'm guessing this is plugged. Yeah. Yeah, that was plugged pretty good. So we're gonna have to take a pin and get through there. Let's see what the fuel screw is at. 1, 2, 2 1/4. Diaphragm underneath here. Spring is in there. Piece of hair in there. Weird. Diaphragm looks to be in good shape. No rips or cracks. Still rubbery. I'm gonna blow that out with compressed air and then clean it out with some carb cleaner. Alright, carburetor's all back in, installed. We've got fresh fuel in the gas tank. Clean that out, so let's see if she fires up here. Still smoking pretty good, but revs out without the choke on now. Alright, so it definitely runs a lot better with that carb clean. It actually revs out without the choke on now, so that is fixed. It still is smoking a ton though. So I'm going to drain the oil and just see if that's really thin, because sometimes if the oil is really bad and thin, it can get by the rings. So let's take a look at the oil, see what's going on with that. Alright, going underneath here, you can see the drain bolt right here. Got it loosened up. That's a 19 mil right there. Alright, looks pretty watery to me. Pretty black looking too. Doesn't look like any metal chunks or anything, but we'll see. We'll wait for that to drain and then check it out. Alright, let's take a look at the oil here. It's pretty black looking. See if there's any metal chunks in here. Oh, I see a couple. Little piece of aluminum there. Nothing too big or anything. Oh. That's like a rock or something. I don't know what that is. So really just one little chunk. Alright, so I fixed the back wheels. Those don't wobble anymore. The bolt underneath that was a little bit loose, so tighten those up. Tighten this one up. No more wobble. Those were really bad before, but those bolts were backed off. And then I put cotter pins in it, so those shouldn't come back off. Alright, down here you can see it says 2,900 centimeters. Is it cubed? Yeah. So it takes about 3 quarts of oil, which is quite a bit. Well, let's get that going in there. Alright, let's just check the dipstick here. And you can see halfway between the full and empty. So we're good to go there. Alright. Turn this thing to on. I don't see any smoke, at least not too much. Oh, there it comes. Alright, she's smoking pretty good again. Let's see if she moves here. Alright, still pretty smoky, but as she warms up, she gets a little bit less smoky, so that's good. I think we'll have to do valve seals and rings on this thing. Alright, this light right here is burnt out the bulb, so I'll have to get a new bulb for that. This one, the solder was broken off on the light bulb, so I had to resolder it, and now check this out. That works, high and low, low, high. Then we've got the tail light working as well. So that's working. I do have to order up a new lens for that to sell them for like $11. But otherwise, it's coming along. Let's try to clean up the plastics a little bit. Alright, I'm using WD-40 and a green pad. You can see I did this area, and this is the area I haven't done. Just really rough. It doesn't come off without using the green pad. Back here it looks like the plastics are a lot better. Almost looks like the front end was sitting outside and the back end was inside. That's kind of what it looks like. Okay, quick show you guys the process here. Little WD-40 squirt. And just scrub away. Alright, we got done with the plastics, at least the front ones. I'm going to pressure wash the back ones because they're just muddy, but the front ones are looking pretty good. Pretty white, at least. Not looking too bad. Those were horrible before, so coming along. Alright, it's been about a week since our last appearance of this thing. We are going to change out the piston rings and then the valve seals today. We're going to take apart the top end and see what's going on with that. You can see we need to take up the pipe, the carburetor, the hose right here. Grab that off there right now. And then, what else do we have to get off of this thing? The rest of it should just come off fairly easily. Spark plug boot. Take the spark plug out. There's a mount right here that needs to come off. And I'm trying to think out. That's pretty easy then. And we've got a couple parts that came in. We've got the new piston rings. These are all I had for rings. See how long those last. We got a new seat cover for it. That's the only one they had for this thing as well. And an oil filter, air filter, and spark plug. So we're going to change out all that stuff today as well. And hopefully take this for the first ride. Alright, carburetor's off. I got the timing chain off. And then we got to get the tensioner out of here as well. And then we got the pipe off. Let's see, down there. Man, does that smell bad in there? There we go. There's the piston in there. Hard to tell what that looks like. Doesn't look like the cylinder's scratched too much. We'll take a closer look after we get the cylinder off. To get the cylinder off, it looks like just one Allen right there. Alright, who thinks the piston ring is stuck on here? Alright, taking a look at the crank rod here. Looks like that's good, no play up and down, a little bit side to side. So crank rod bearings are still good. Piston over here is kind of interesting. There's one spot on it right there that got hit, but it's not like raised or anything. And it's not affecting the rings or anything like that. So I think it got hot on one side. The rings are all free, but they're probably worn out. Probably the original rings in there. And then the cylinder, I don't know if we can hone this out, but you can see there's a couple marks on it. Right there is where I think the piston got hot. You can see down right there. All right, we're just gonna quick hone this guy out. Got some oil here. Just gonna lube it up a little bit. So we've got this flex hone right here, big boy. Just gonna put that in there. Just work this back and forth. You can see a couple right there. Those are like really, really tiny though. We'll do a couple more passes with it, but it won't take much. There's no deep scratches or anything. All right, well, I'd say that looks pretty good. All right, just looking at the piston here, you can see the blow-by. Look at the dark. This right here, that's all blow-by past the rings. All right, so these are the old rings that were in it. Let's just see what the ring gap is here. And that would be why oil was coming in. Look at how big that ring gap is. That's giant. Look at the size of that ring gap. That's why it was smoking so much. All right, we have the new piston rings right here. Let's just see what the gap is on these. Yeah. See, that's what the gap is supposed to look like. That's what the gap is supposed to look like right there. All right, here's the old seat cover. You can see the big rips in it. Those are all the staples. And we're gonna install the new one next. All right, this is how the seat turned out. Pretty good. Not too bad. Better than it was. All right, so to get the valve seals out, we need to take the valves out. And to get the valves out, you had to take the cam out. So the cam looks like that. That was right in there. And that was held on by a couple bolts with this bracket right there. And it just pulled right out. Then you just take your puller and you get the valves out. I got this one out. I got this one out already, you can see. And the valve seal was right here, the old one. So we're gonna replace those. Because I think that was letting oil through, but here's the valve. You can see quite a bit of carbon built up on it. Oh, quick. It's got a spring in here. Intake side. Smaller spring. And here it is. So this one's not too bad. Alright, we got everything back together here. Top end is all on. I kind of skipped over it because the video is getting really long here. And now we're going to attempt to start it and hopefully it does not smoke anymore. No smoke yet. Alright, check it out. All back together, all complete, looking pretty good. So we're gonna go pressure wash this thing and then take it for test drive. Alright, just pressure wash this thing. Looking pretty clean now. Alright, let's go test drive it. Alright, let's see what this thing can do. Too bad the 4x4 is not working, but I couldn't find the front drive shaft for it. But man, it's looking pretty clean. Pretty nice machine. See if she starts up right away. Oh yeah. Thing is pretty fast. What's that in the tree? Huh. Pair of underwear in the tree. Interesting. Running pretty good. Not too bad. Alright, so this thing is done. Runs and drives good. No issues whatsoever with it. Goes into every gear. Has lots of power. The front lights work. The back tail light works. We've got a new lens for that. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for another one. But this one is fixed. And this one's done. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing. Until next time, we are out.